support of the majority of the people who voted, not even the majority of the electorate, but the majority of the people who voted. And I think the time has come just to modernise our electoral system, just to bring it up to date, just to make sure it responds to people's need to have a better system that responds to their needs and wishes. I have Tory and Labour friends in Parliament. After every election I ask them how the election was for them, and effectively they say, what election? They had no campaign in their seat. Nobody ever came to challenge. It was always assumed they'd get in. It is a handful of seats, like the American swing states. It's a handful of seats that decides the outcome of the elections. And people like our director of campaigns have had to work with that system, as we all have. And that's completely unfair to the electorate. And it does mean, Sarah was absolutely right, it does mean that many people effectively, once selected, are guaranteed jobs for life. The difficult thing is not the election, it's the selection. That shouldn't be the system, that the choice is made by a few party members rather than by the public as a whole. So Britain deserves better, and we have the most historic opportunity to do something about it. The first time in British history that the public will decide on the way we elect our parliament. The first time ever. We've had referenda, but we've never had a referendum on how we choose our members of parliament. Now, because we're Britain, reform is a gradual process, little by little, step by step. Looking around, none of you were around in 1832, but in 18, for example, women weren't allowed to have a vote. You had to have land, you had to be over 30. Then gradually through the 19th century, there were other changes. The 20th century, people realised that actually women ought to vote too. And by 1928, they realised that women ought to vote on the same basis as men. And when I was at university, there was a realisation that actually people could be trusted with the vote from 18 and not 21. When I was 18, I wasn't entitled to vote. By the time I was 21, I was entitled to vote. And so people modernised the system. And it wasn't just people from one party who came to that view. We, as a party, the old Liberal Party, the SDP, the Liberal Democrats, have always been a party of reform, political reform, constitutional reform. We've always supported those moves. But over history, they've been led sometimes by people in other parties who've understood the need to do that. It was Lloyd George who understood the need to make sure that women had the vote. And so, under his coalition government, that's what happened. It was a Tory Prime Minister, Baldwin, who realised we needed to go further. It was Harold Wilson who realised, as Labour Prime Minister, that we needed to give young people the vote. So there have always been people from different political traditions who realised we need to modernise the voting system. And the really good thing, as was said by Tim, is that now there is a coalition of people who realise we need to change the voting system. There's a coalition which has our party, which has the nationalist parties in Scotland and Wales, which has the Labour leadership and many senior people in the Labour Party, which has some Conservatives, the Green Party, and others. And it's absolutely important that we now realise this is an opportunity for the progressives, the reformers, to win over the Conservatives. Every time these issues have come up, there have always been people arguing no. There were people who argued no at the Great Reform Bill debates in 1831 and 1832. There were people who argued no that women shouldn't have the vote. There were people who argued that 18-year-olds were absolutely irresponsible and they certainly shouldn't have the vote when the debate happened in the late 1960s. We now have people arguing again. We've got to keep it as it is. But keeping it as it is has not produced good politics, has not produced engaged politics. It's meant that for many people, they have assumed the outcome of the election where they are, and therefore they haven't bothered to vote. It's meant for many other people that the only vote they have felt they're able to cast, as people have indicated earlier, has been a negative vote to keep somebody out, not to vote for somebody to come in. That's a very bad form of politics, that you go around canvassing for people to vote against somebody to to vote for somebody, to block somebody, rather than to vote for somebody positively. It's meant that in many seats there has been no election campaign. It's meant that many sitting MPs and candidates know that as long as they canvass their own people, their traditional areas, and get enough votes there, that's sufficient. They don't have to worry about people whose natural first choice might be somebody else. The whole system is distorted and biased against engaging people in the political process. And therefore it absolutely isn't surprising that we've ended up with a politics where there are people who behave as if they have safe seats for life. And the last Parliament has shown this worse than any time in our political lifetime, when people were abusing the system because they thought they'd get away with it. And they would never be able to be thrown out. And the expenses scandal, and the duck houses, and the moats were all a product of that system, where you just thought it wouldn't matter because you'd be okay, and the electorate would disregard it. So, the system has failed, and we have the opportunity, thanks to us, we have the opportunity now to deliver. And the campaign for the 5th of May is a campaign that I hope everybody will feel hugely enthusiastic about going to win. A battle between reformers and progressives on the one hand and conservatives on the other. Who are the people who are on the other side of the campaign? Yes, many people in the Conservative Party, the Communist Party of Great Britain, the BNP, and the money backers, above all, the Taxpayers Alliance, that lovely enlightened group of people who propose cuts in public spending 25 times larger than the cuts introduced by the coalition government. I have to say the thought of the BNP and the Communist Party of Great Britain and John Prescott and Margaret Beckett coming to knock on my door is not appealing. In fact, one of them knocking on the door may not be appealing, but all of them coming at the same time are not appealing at all. The next point to make is the one Floella made so effectively. The world won't end. It won't even shift my taxes if we change to a 1, 2, 3 system. It is understandable. People can manage it. And even British people might just be able to manage it too. People then start saying, very dangerous, self-interested, Liberal Democrats bound to win. Not the case at all. That's absolutely not an argument. Talk to the psephologists, talk to the people who know about these things. All their advice is that actually the outcomes of the last elections of the last 30 years would have been similar in party outcome under AV as they have been under first past the post. Similar in outcome in terms of balance of parties, but not similar in the election process or the engagement of people locally or individual results. Then people say, very dangerous, will lead to unstable government. What about Australia, they say? They've had AV for 90 years. They have had AV for 90 years. They've had a balanced parliament twice in 90 years in Australia, compared to Britain, which has had a balanced parliament 4 times under first past the post. Canada, which has first past the post, has had a balanced parliament for the last 3 general elections. So it doesn't produce automatically an unstable result at all. In the year I was born, this is giving away something I don't like giving away up very publicly, but in the year I was born, over 9 out of 10 people voted Conservative or Labour. The old system, first past the post, worked quite well in those days, because for most people that was the choice. But we're now in a British political situation where in England, 2/3 of people only, just under now, vote Conservative or Labour. And in Scotland and Wales, it's a 4-party system. And therefore people want choices. There are more parties out there campaigning. People have a wider view of politics. And we've got to reflect that, it seems to me, in the electoral system that we choose. Roy Jenkins once said, "Everybody change but us" is never a good slogan. And I think that's now come true. So people want their voices to count for more, people want their votes to count for more, People want their choices to count for more, and people want their politicians to do more. And we want an end to rotten boroughs. If you like, this is the opportunity to do in the 21st century what was done in 1832 by the Great Reform Act in the 19th century. Rotten boroughs, entrenched, guaranteed political outcomes, need to be got rid of. We need to get rid of places, and again the parallels there, when in the past people just didn't have to work for your vote. In those days, they were given the seat or they bought it. Now they get selected for it and they can keep it. Completely unacceptable system. So this very British reform is coming your way on the 5th of May. A small change that makes a big difference. It keeps what people like about the current system, which is to have a constituency MP. It puts people and not politicians in charge of the process. It makes all candidates and then all MPs work harder for everybody's vote. And it helps to end the scandal of safe seats for life. 7 weeks today, we will have the result of the referendum. 7 weeks today, we will know whether we have changed British politics forever, or whether we are stuck in the system invented nearly 200 years ago, and which is clearly failing and letting the public down. And every vote counts in this referendum. I don't know whether you know this, but the Great Reform Bill was agreed to in the House of Commons by a majority of one. Never ever think that your vote or the vote you might persuade somebody to cast might not be the vote that makes the difference. There is no reason why this referendum might not be a referendum won by 1%, or 1,000 votes, or 100 votes. We all absolutely have an obligation, because to lose by a ridiculously small margin when we could win is something that we will all look back on with huge, huge disappointment and frustration. So if you want MPs to work harder for your vote yes. If you want politicians to listen to the whole country, not just to voters in marginal seats, vote yes. And, to put it rather crudely, if you want more duck houses, vote no. If you want more democracy, vote yes. To use Floella's phrase, if you want more people to be happy about their politics, vote yes. Change can come bigger than any change in any single council election, even bigger for the long term than changes in the administration in Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland on May the 5th. And we can be a part of it. All we need the British people to do is to say yes. Yes to grown-up politics, yes to power in people's hands, yes to fairer votes, and yes to a huge change on the 5th of May. A little change in practice leading to a huge change in politics. If you really want people to be happy and the sun to shine over British politics, not just in Manchester, vote yes on May the 5th. That's how we're here together. Don't take it for granted. Don't be complacent. It's a campaign we can win. And it'll be a campaign hugely, hugely worth winning. Not for us,